All right. What's good, everybody? It's your boy Uncle Dope checking in today, and today we got a really great guest checking in with us for Dope Conversations Day. So, hope you guys have had a great week. Um, we're gonna go ahead and get into this thing right here. So, today's guest, I'm honored to have today's guest. I've been knowing him for, I want to say, about 4 months now, and the thing about this guy, man, when I met him, because one thing about me, cooking is a passion. So when I met him actually for a private event. He was my personal chef or private chef for an event that happened. No, actually, no, been knowing you for over a year, not 4 months. I'm still thinking it's 2020. Um, I've been knowing him from over a year. So today's guest is Chef Kaius.
We dog sitting right now, man. Hey, Smoke, come here. Come here.
He can hear my voice through the headphones.
You think he see somebody outside?
So Chef is from Alabama, and he's taking his southern roots and combining them with the cross culture interpretation of what we call comfort food. And everybody know what comfort food is, depending on where you're from. But from the South, man, comfort food is also known as soul food. And he his mantra is cook like you love somebody. And growing up, anybody knows that their grandparents or father or mother, whenever they cook, whenever they say, "Hey, this food is good," and the parent says, "Hey, that's because it's made with love," and that's a great mantra to live by. Um, for every meal prepared, rather it's intimate dinner of two or group or special occasion, chef always aims to give the experience of why he named his business the Chef Kaius Xperience, not EX but X. He's a self-taught chef. He's very passionate about the food art. He received his early lessons in his mom's kitchen, so that means he knows what he's doing. Um, um, his mother graduated. His mother is a college professor at Alabama State University, and his father is a pastor and a community leader at the New Walks Life Church back in Montgomery, Alabama. So he got some South in him.
Oh yeah,
some real South. Um, he gave me a lengthy bio, but we're gonna let him talk about himself versus me talking about himself in this interview, because I want you guys to understand, man, this guy is walking, he's a living, breathing, walking, talking of an example of what it means to live in your passion and do what you're passionate about. So without further ado, Chef, I'm gonna turn it over to you. How you doing over there in San Antonio today?
hey, living the dream, man.
I
Happy
mean,
to be here.
I'm glad we finally got together, man. We've been
Yeah,
talking about this for over a year.
yeah, definitely. So, thank you for the invite. We've been planning this for a while, but no better time than now. So,
Yeah,
glad
so
about it.
you stay busy, man. Like I think I've tried to hire you for a couple of functions, and every time I reach out to you, man, you stay on the go. So definitely the experience is literally living and breathing every day. So how is it that you are available today out of all days?
My younger cousin just celebrated her 21st birthday this weekend, so I cleared the schedule for her. So yeah, this was just the perfect timing, man. Just
Hey, when you next time you talk to your cousin, tell her I appreciate it for appreciate her for ensuring your schedule was clear for this.
yeah, definitely.
So let's go ahead and get into this interview, man. I got a couple of questions for you, but really, I only really ask one question because I know that one question is organic and it's going to take us through where we need to go.
Right.
So, um, everybody has a foundation. What is your foundation, and how did it shape you to be the person that you are today?
My foundation, man. So you already mentioned me being from Alabama. My dad's a pastor, mother is a teacher, and so they just kind of grew up in careers where they are natural nourishers. They have to take care of people, guide people. Hospitality just kind of something that I grew up in. Seeing my dad always taking care of the church folks. With him being a pastor, he always made time to cook breakfast for everybody at the Sunday school. Like that. My mom, full-time professor, coming home still being able to provide dinner. Food, hospitality, love. All of that was just always correlated with each other. And so just kind of coming from that and moving to Texas, and you still see that hospitality, but just the style of food is a little bit different.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, so I mean that's anywhere you go, but it was a culture shock for me, and kind of missing the food that I wanted back home. That just really made me dive into the kitchen a little bit more. I always, cook. My older brothers cook. I said mom and dad cooked. Everybody in the family cooked. So that's kind of the foundation. And then just kind of piggyback on that, coming out here and missing out on something that I grew up with, really encouraged me and created a space for me to be able to really develop those skills.
Okay, so you said everybody in your family cooks. So are you the only per se chef in the family, or do you have any other siblings that took on the role of being personal chefs or professional chefs, or even having a food truck or restaurant?
My brother is a renaissance man. This guy's a photographer, politician, and he will tell any and everybody that he taught me how to cook. And the same thing with my pops. So none of them really took on the profession like I did, but they definitely wear the hat pretty well. Nonetheless. So it's in the bloodstream for sure, man.
So you said your father and brother likes to take the claim, but
Yeah,
in your bio you give all credit to your mom.
yeah,
So
yeah. Very intentional.
so how long have you been quote unquote a professional chef? Because you didn't go to like traditional culinary art school, did you?
No, self-taught. And that's a pretty dope story right there, man. Had some hard times coming out here in Texas. Had to find my way, but en route to that, I found myself on a bus one day, heading to Montgomery from Texas on the mega bus, and we had to stop. And it was tough, man. We had to stop in New Orleans where I met this dude named Daly, and Daly was a college student in Houston, and he just started making small talk. He's like, "Yo, so what's your story, man? Where you from? Where you going? All this stuff." And through that conversation, I told him, I don't really know where I'm going, but I know I'm passionate about cooking. I know that I really enjoy doing that. And he was like, "Well, let me see your Instagram." And at the time, my Instagram was just filled with me, doing my thing, out and about. You know what I'm saying? And he was just like, well, you say you passionate about cooking, but I don't see enough of that passion on your Instagram. So he was like, if you really, are really about this, why don't you just call yourself chef and start living your life like a chef? And this happened maybe like 4 years ago. And that same day, I pretty much created a new Instagram and, self-proclaiming myself as chef, even though I didn't have the credentials, I didn't even have the experience. I'm nowhere near at the level I'm at now. But just at that moment is where the path really got serious for me. And then just ever since then, just kind of been living my life as a chef. And here I am now, man, uh, pretty legit, not to be braggadocious or anything like that, but just kind of the journey has been real, man, and it's led me to this point. So
So I always try to throw a plug in the purpose of this podcast, and why we're doing it. It's really about people having that aha moment and waking up and stepping into what it is they love, and creating a lifestyle um, that benefits them financially as well as mentally, by doing what they want to do. So you made a comment about, or the guy you met made a statement of, why don't you just start calling yourself a chef. But the question, the statement that he made to you is, I don't see it in you right now.
Yeah.
How did, when he made that statement, like, how did you feel? Like, what was the feeling of when somebody said, I don't see it in you right now?
So for me, I've never been sensitive towards constructive criticism. You can kind of tell when somebody just, dogging you just to dog you. And you can also tell if what they're saying has true value. And I knew where I was at in that, stage of my life. I wasn't, being serious about what I wanted to do and who I wanted to be. So it definitely resonated, and so much to the point where, like you said, it was that aha moment. Like, okay, he has some value, some truth in what he's saying, and it didn't take long at all for me to that light to switch. So it was real for me.
So you decided to claim it, and once you claimed it, you started living it.
Right.
And that's a big thing that I think a lot of people, including myself, we get afraid to claim it because we have to live up to what we're claiming. So you literally changed your Instagram or your social handles, and even with your name. Like, when people hit you up, they don't call you by your first name, they call you Chef.
Exactly.
So you living in that moment, and you're living in up to the name that you created for yourself, because that's what you knew, that's what you knew, and what you felt in your heart where you wanted to be. So in doing so, uh you said you've been actively claiming that you're a chef for 4 years, correct?
Yeah, it might even be longer than that, but
Okay.
we'll say about 4 or 5 years.
So what year was it when the chef, when you met the guy, and he basically said, hey, uh
I
you
want to
ain't
say I was 22, and I'm
okay.
I'm 29 now.
29. So
Yeah,
7 years.
yeah.
7 years.
So my math is off, but
seven
yeah.
7 years. And you know what they say about the number seven, right? It's not
Oh yeah,
lucky.
yeah.
It's the
Year of
number.
completion.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So you're in your stride. So when do you think, about what time frame do you think you hit your stride?
man. 2020.
You serious?
2020. Yeah, 2020. Everything just the vision became clear. Just everything how it was lining up, the people that was being aligned with me, the situations, just everything, because even though I was a self-proclaimed chef, I was working in the restaurant industry as a server for seven
Wow.
years. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So I lost my job with COVID, and that was the avenue. Even then, I was serving and doing pop-ups. And my food now, it's not really pop-up like food.
Nah.
And so I was struggling with that. I wanted to get my name out there, but I couldn't fathom somebody paying hundreds of dollars for my food, thousands of dollars for my food. I just like, this is a safe place for me to be and still allow people to try it. So COVID happened, all the bars shut down, the restaurants shut down, and that's when the Chef Kaius Xperience was born. And it has been the life changing moment for me, the pivotal.
Um, Man, I just lost my train of thought because you made a statement that really that caught my attention, but then I just started hearing a whole bunch of other things that you said that still made more sense. Um, so 2020 hit, you lost your job due to COVID, and you kicked it in high gear. So, oh, that's what it was. Price. That's what you hit on. Price. So you said that, um, two things I'm gonna tap into. Uh, why was the price, or the number of how much you would charge people, why was that significant?
Because you want your worth, your value. That is it's more than just the payment. That's kind of a psychological thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
If people are not willing to pay the price that you are putting down, it's just like, well, am I worth it? You know, am I bringing that type of value? And you know, prior to that, I would try to escape in different avenues of like meal preps, like I said, plate sales, the pop ups, and people weren't really buying into it like that. So it just, you know, just the pricing was an issue at that point, but you know, we're definitely in a different space now.
Nah,
But
man, because people paying for the experience.
yeah,
They don't mind paying for the experience.
yeah,
And then you made another statement that I think is very important because we're in this day and age where mental health is a big topic, and you said that it was a safe place. What makes it a safe place?
because it's the most affordable. You know, it's kind of like, you know, people validating you, but it's just because it's within their safety net. You know what I'm saying? It's like mom and dad saying, "Oh yeah, you do good," you know, just because it's in the realm of area where they're willing to support, but it's not until you got strangers who could, you know, pay thousands, hundreds of dollars to book you type of thing where you just like, okay, you know. So the safety net was just like, it was easy for people to pay for a $10 meal from me, you know, a $12 meal
Right.
from me. You know, I could get you to do that. I could easily sell you the value of that, but can I sell you a value of this? You know what I mean? So
Um, and then the hustle aspect. Everybody, and I think in my opinion, everybody goes to a period where they hustle when they hustle for the things that they're good at, but then it transforms from being a hustler to actually being a entrepreneur or a business person when they step into their purpose. So I crack jokes a lot on social media. This is not aimed at any one particular person, but man, when you mentioned that word plate sale, plate sale back in the day used to, when I think of plate sale, they used to be a fundraiser. I never really thought of plate sale as a hustle, but then everybody and their mamas started trying to do plate sales at one point in time, and it became like, wow, like some of you people don't know how to present food, or some of you people are probably using. I crack jokes like, "Hey, y'all pictures look like acid reflux." I say stuff like that.
yeah,
But how, like, what did you feel like, you as a chef, did you feel like the plate sale movement was, when you were doing it, was that like a, hey, this is just temporary because I know I want to be somewhere else?
I didn't know that at first. It kind of started unraveling. The deeper I got into it, because at first I'm thinking I'm doing something, you know, because I'm actually selling my food now. I'm not
Mhm.
just taking pictures and being, food blogger or whatever. Like, I can actually give somebody the product.
Right.
So for me, it was a step in the process, you know.
Okay. And um step in the process. So basically, you guys, if for everybody's listening, it's nothing wrong with how you start, but it's all about how you evolve and sustain.
Exactly.
Um, and that's one of the things, I didn't know you. I didn't know you as a plate salesman. I knew you as the chef.
Right.
And when I met you, I was like, dude, like, I told you, I said, you got it. Whatever it is, that is, you got it. And over the past 12 months, I have seen you blossom, and I've seen you establish yourself with or make connections that will only turn into something bigger than what you probably imagine. So let's talk about the connection and the project you just embarked on with getting the facility, and one of your partners you referred me to, and their food's just as, I'm just gonna say just as good. I ain't gonna say better, but just as good.
Yeah.
But like, how did you make that connection with your team, with the team you got now?
Yeah, so Normenia Lewis over at Gnomes Catering had the idea to start a group called the Chefs Collab. And initially she was just kind of doing it as a connection for chefs in the city to kind of just, build and help each other. You know what I'm saying? And then from that was really my greatest pivotal moment because through her, I've always been more so of an artist. She helped me to get licensed, get my insurance, get the building establishment, things like that. Things that I thought would have been super hard, or because I've actually looked into that several times prior to meeting her, but she just kind of simplified it for me.
Right.
And so, with being with her and the rest of the members in the group, that just kind of really helped me be able to, you know, take the right path instead of the most difficult one. You know what I mean? So
And it's funny you mentioned Gnomes Catering because me and her been we kind of I kind of been going back and forth. I definitely want to get her on because I see what she's doing
yeah,
as well. But so like, what's the vision? Like, what's the new vision behind it? Because I know initially it started out with a larger group. Now it kind of scaled down to, it looks like you guys have some intentions. I don't know if you want to share the plan or if it's secretive, which is cool. But you guys got intention right now.
uh, right now it's I think it's where it needed to be, or needs to be. It's all of us we're all driven. We all have understanding of where we want us as a group and a business to go towards. So I'm a huge believer of everything happens for a reason, and everything is what it's supposed to be. So with that being said, with the group, I mean everybody in the group had individual businesses from the beginning, and everybody is thriving from their individual businesses. And even though the collab is a collective group, how we've been able to help impact each other's personal businesses, I think for me that's the greatest story of it all. Like I said, how I've been able to get legitimize my business and things of that sort. I would not have been able to do that without them. So and I'm sure they could probably say how I've been beneficial for them as well.
Right.
It's just kind of been more of a family situation. And yeah, everything happens for a reason, and I think we're all pretty happy with where we're at right now.
So that's pretty like the uniqueness of what you just captured is something that I think in our community, especially the Black community, is very difficult to find individuals that are operating in the same industry, but they rarely work together because they are looking at themselves as the competition instead of the collaboration.
Right.
Um, and I would love like to I would love for you guys to, hopefully you guys are promoting that in that sense, because people need to see that there's a lesson and there's a benefit behind collabing with not everybody, but collaborating, be intentional and be protective about who you collaborate with, because
Right.
we're all on this earth to teach each other something.
Yeah.
And the fact that you had somebody that sat you down and said, "Hey, I get you over here doing all this stuff over here, but where's the structure in what you're doing?
Yeah.
If you structure things this way, you could do X, Y, and Z." And they saw the benefit of doing it because they knew that eventually, once you got your stuff established, look at where you guys are today. Uh,
Exactly. Yeah. And I want to also drop the note too is I think ego kills us a lot.
mhm.
You think that you're beyond being teachable, you're beyond being taught to, your way is the only way. And it's only with like a flexible mind, an open mind where you can truly grow. So I'm a part of this book club, and we just finished reading a book called Who Not How. And I'm a huge like this book right here changed my life as well. And it pretty much tells you it's not necessarily what problems you're having, is more so who can help you solve those problems. Because you can only do so much, but when you start bringing in other people who have other resources, who have more information, now you're able to solve problems becomes infinite. So just kind of understand that you don't know it all. Somebody else might be, a better resource in whatever issue that you're having, and just kind of keep an open mind and kill the ego, man. Because I definitely know that ego is, I mean, being prideful and all that, that'll keep you where you at. So if you're looking to grow, I'll say definitely check your ego, and then do whatever else is necessary. But ego is definitely a big thing for me.
So you sharing knowledge right now. So you in a book club. What are some other books that you've read or that you've been that's been recommended to for you to read that actually helps you along your journey?
So right now we're reading Outlier. We've read U Square, and then prior to that, I hated reading as a child, and you know grew up knowing that reading is the answer. You know what I'm saying? They keep information in books that you won't just hear naturally. So I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, the Secrets to Successful People, the 7 Effective Ways of communication. Just different self-help books is my niche, what I really like to enjoy reading, besides the cookbooks and things like that. But just trying to always stay fresh. The David Goggins book, You Can't Hurt Me.
Yeah.
That's one that I keep reading as well. He's pretty dope. So
Yeah. For me, a previous guest actually put me on a book that um, I probably I bought the book, but also I do audiobooks. It's easier for me to do audiobooks. And the person who sold me on audiobooks was the late Nipsey Hussle. Like I really didn't get into audiobooks until listening to it, watching the interview with him, and hearing uh, how he receives his knowledge. And I said, well, let me check that out. And I throw audiobooks on when I go to sleep and have them playing in the background. And hopefully I'm subconsciously pulling in some of that information, that content from that book to kind of help me. But I'm over taking notes on the books you got. So I'm definitely gonna buy this Who Not How.
Who Not How. Yeah.
I'm definitely buying that.
That's the one. That's the one. Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
because of the position I do, my day-to-day job, I never heard of you said the 70 effective ways to communicate.
Yeah.
Um,
Seven.
I'm say it again.
7 effective ways.
7. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, definitely grabbing that. That could probably help me on my day to day. And y'all just understand, like, this is what these conversations about. It's about people who are living in their purpose and passion. But I want to know, I want to be able to highlight how this person got on the track that they're on, and sharing nuggets like, hey, these are books that I'm reading. These are associations that I have. Like being in a book club, I never thought that would be impactful to helping a person guide themselves um, down an entrepreneurial path.
Yeah.
And some people don't think about that. And that's a tool. That's a ready-made tool. And then speaking to trying to speaking to checking your ego, how to check your ego. Well, it's in a book. It's a book that probably teaches you to reflect on you
Yeah.
and teaches humility. So that's big on you. But the book that I'm gonna share with you is called Soar by TD Jakes. I don't know if you ever heard of it, but
The TV Jakes is cold, man.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that
He's cold. Yeah.
shout out to Derek Williams, CEO of Scouts Honor. He put me on that, and once I got on that, I went on this journey of just downloading books on top of books on top of books.
Yeah.
I think right now my favorite book is called Mastery by Robert Greene. He's the guy who wrote the book 48 Laws of Power, and
Yeah.
And then if you got like people probably laugh, but he actually did a collaboration with 50 Cent called The 50th Law. And that book is genius. But those are my key books, and then the one I'm rereading right now is Matthew McConaughey's Green Lights. That's a good one.
Okay.
And all these books for me, because I'm a dreamer and because I need stability, or not really stability, but structure. And what
Definitely.
I do, I read these books because um, I put them on repeat because there are things in there that I hear and it resonates with me, but it doesn't connect. So I go back over and over again and reread those books and start um, trying to start highlighting things that I need to be doing for myself. So
Yeah.
I'm almost 40 years old, man, and I'm just not figuring out what it is I want to do in my life.
Like I
And
said, man, no better time than now.
and and that's partially because I've been in the military for almost 20 years, and you really don't you have an identity, but you really don't have identity in the military.
Yeah.
Your first identity is the military, and then
Right.
your next identity is you. And I think that's part of the reason why a lot of us, even if we don't go through combat, any stressful combat situations, we walk out of there with mental health issues, and it's not really PTSD. Is really like identity crisis.
Right.
So we fall into depression because now we're walking out like, man, this is all I known for these years, and I put all this energy into this organization, and I don't have anything to show for it but two paychecks a month. But I have no identity. Who am I? And that's my current journey right now, is finding out who I am, so that I can step into into the role such as what you're in. So you know um, you've made all these decisions. You've established some really really crucial and impactful collaborations with the chef collab, as well as your book club. With all this going on, like, what would you say will be your biggest accomplishment?
Uh, a few years ago, and I don't even know if it's okay for me to like name names, so I'm not gonna name names right now. But I work for this large catering company in San Antonio as a temp agency. I was their bartender, and so through working with them, I've served Dr. King's son, I've served the Spurs, I've seen all these glamorous events because they're the top guys. What's the lawyer, John Henry or something like that?
Yeah.
We did his daughter quinceanera, like a $16 million quinceanera they did for the daughter. I've seen some crazy stuff. So this company is definitely, the premier caterers in probably in Texas or in whatever, man. They doing the thing. So I worked for them years ago, and without them even knowing me, knowing that I worked for them, they hired me to be the personal chef for the owners.
Wow.
Yeah. So when I had the interview with their assistant, they told me they was looking for, somebody to kind of do meals around the house. I was like, yeah, I'm more into, like the traveling chef. If you want to do like private intimate dinners, special events, things like that. That I'm not really like a healthy chef. And that's something I had to learn too. To every job
Dang.
is not my job. But this is
Yeah.
before I even knew who they were.
Okay.
She was just like, yeah, my boss needs a chef to come cook healthy meals every day. I said, that's not really what I do, but if you need, somebody come in and travel for you, things like that. And she was like, okay, well, we want you to come here, but I need to interview you further to, fill you out and things like that. I'm like, okay, so I never had this before. This is kind of new to me. So we meet up and we talk, and she's like, yeah, my boss is, they're caterers, they're big caterers in the city. And in my mind, I'm thinking, I used to work for some big time caterers. So I kind of threw it out there that I worked for this specific catering company. And she was like, She just didn't budge. Like she didn't. She kept a good poker face. So, later on, she's like, okay, well, we want you to do the job, next Y and Z. I said, okay, well, I still don't know who these people are. Can you, let me know who I'm working with? And she was like, yeah, these are the owners of that catering company that you used to work for. So, and it's just like for me to know their standard of serving, to know the quality of food, to know, they serve like 13 presidents, some big time people, and they chose me to be their chef. That's kind of been my big high, you know what I'm saying? And this is pretty recent as well. So this is just kind of like you just never know, man. Like this time last year, still kind of going back and forth between the plate sales, private dinners, you know what I'm saying? Just really didn't understand my position in all of this. And a year later, to have these people hire me on to do things for them, just kind of that's definitely been my pinnacle thus far.
So from that experience, like, um, did that almost kind of like certify you for you personally? Was that like
Yeah,
that was your certifying moment?
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so if you mind, like you don't have to say names either, because again, we don't want of course brand identity, brand protection, and so on and so forth. Have you outside of them, like have you gotten any notable? Do you got a notable resume right now?
yeah. I definitely I'm pretty happy. I have some chefs in the city that and the chefs, man. I got chefs in the city who've hired me to do work for them. And these are big time chefs. So just and I'm humble, bro. I know where I've been, I, not even that long ago. So anytime anybody really, decides to book me or whatever, I'm always humbled. I'm always honored that you decided to take a chance on me. But the people that I've had book me thus far is been pretty tight, and I'm just starting. You know,
Excuse me.
I'm nowhere near where my end result. So still a long ways to go.
Oh man, he said he's just starting. What about that? Man, you saying a lot of things that's caused me to forget my questions. Uh,
Is it me or the wine, man?
no, it's you. So like, because you saying like you saying some like the things that you're saying, people need to hear this because I think people think that success is on the others that they think success is the goal. They never talk about what they do. We never highlight what people do to get to the goal. We never. Um, and you're like what you're speaking is like you're living like you're going through your moment. And the fact that you just said you just started, but to me, I feel like the way you present yourself, the way you the way you're moving is like I feel like you've already been here. And he's saying it's like this is only the beginning.
Yeah, dog. It's my first year. My first year. Like being legit. My first year. So there's no way I've touched it. There's no way.
So what do you think that looks like? Like what's like the ultimate moment for you?
I'm gonna say it, man. I want to build $1 billion empire from this. I want Chef Kaius to be a household name. You know, Gordon Ramsay. Rachel Ray, Bobby Flay, all of them. I need my name up there with the greatest to do it. Wolfgang Puff, all of them. I need that. So yeah, I'm not touching it. I'm not there yet.
and that right there that feeds hunger. So um do you have mentors?
So what I've done for that is join these entrepreneur groups, the chefs collab, the book clubs, things like that. But I'm definitely in search of mentors.
Okay.
I'll tell you that I have mentors, but not as consistent as I want it to be. Like I really need, and I know with that you need to pay somebody
Well,
to really put you on.
not necessarily paid, but I'm just saying like who do you today when you're going through not a business moment but just a life moment
My
that
pops,
and that's your mentor.
yeah,
That's the person who keeps you grounded so you can focus on the business.
yeah.
And I'm not a fan of paid mentors, but I know people are talented in doing that and they got to get paid. I'm a big fan of organic mentors.
I'm with
So
that. Yeah,
like for me in the military, people see my stripe, my rank, and automatically assume that I got it all together. But I did something right to get to where I am. And they admire my personality, they admire my drive, they admire how I present myself as well. And sometimes I feel honored to be a mentor because most of the time when I'm dealing with the people that I'm mentoring, it's not even about the military. It's about just talking about surviving.
yeah, definitely.
So I just remember my question I was going to ask. Um, so your inspiration, who's your inspiration?
I find inspiration in everything and everybody. To be honest, my like I said before, my dad's a huge leader in the community. He's over here, got a heart monitor on his back right now. He recently got diagnosed with some issues, and but he's still out here serving people.
Mm-hmm.
My mom's been a college professor at Alabama State University for 30 plus years.
Dang.
You know what I mean? She's still risking her life with COVID, going in class, meeting up with these students, things like that. I would love to retire both of them, just because of how much they poured into me. I was a knucklehead kid, man. I did, they say the PKs are the worst ones. I was the worst ones of the worst ones. I put them through some things, and as soon as they saw that my vision was getting clearer, that I was getting serious, it wasn't nothing for them to pour into me. This catering vehicle I got right here, my pops purchased for me, put my name, logos, all that stuff, and anytime I could get a hold of my dad, I got him. You know what I'm saying? When we could talk about anything and everything. So I definitely want to repay them back. Gnomes, you know, from the Chef's Collab, she definitely poured in her life to me as well. I have so many people that I have to pay back. And not even because it's something that you should do. It's something that I really want to do. So
Right.
I keep them in mind in everything that I do, and I just know that for that to be able to happen, I definitely have a long ways to go.
So you made a statement about paying people back. The coolest thing about organic people or people that actually believe in you, they're not looking for you to pay them
They're
back.
not. You're right.
Your payback or that yeah, your repayment to them is actually seeing you achieve those goals that they see in you, that they believe in you. And that's one of the things I tell people all the time. Is like people like, oh man, I don't know how I can ever return the favor. It's like the only way you return the favor is don't go back to this. It's seeing from where we are now and continue to go forward.
Right.
And to me, that beats morally because real we all want our money, but morally that beats any paycheck any day. Because at the end of the day, I can put you on. When I look at certain things, I can put you on my resume. You know, the goal of the mentor is to make sure the mentee is better than the mentor. And the fact that you said your parents are pouring into you, like how does that feel? Because it's a lot of people out there who are pursuing their dreams, but they got family who really doesn't pour into them. They're sitting back to wait to see if they're going to be successful before they cheer them on. Like, how does that feel?
It's the purest form of love, man. Just to kind of know our history, our stories, together. I could never not be grateful for who they are and who they've been for me. So it's just when I think about love, I think about my parents, and that's it.
That's some real talk right there. I mean, because uh, as I was saying, it's one of those things where it's a lot of people out here. People complain about, well, not really complain. They express hurt because the people that they love the most, or the people that know them, don't pour into them like strangers do. And that's like one of the weirdest feelings. But to hear somebody actually say, "Yo, like my family actually shows up for me without me even having to ask them to show up," like that's real deal. What would you say to somebody who didn't have uh, that same support or that same backing from their family? What would you say to somebody like that?
I mean, find it. If it's not there, sometimes we focus too much on the people who are not giving it to you.
Right.
I've had family members who dogged me out. I've had friends who, Kai's not going to be nothing. You over here wilding. You're never going to be nothing. Things like that. And if I've chosen to listen to them all my life instead of listen to the people who's like, okay, you know, you might be wilding in this area of life, but if you make this turn instead, you could be in a better position, and listen to the people who were feeding me instead of people who were, dragging me down. There's no telling where I'd be at. So, a lot of times those people are there. We're just choosing to listen to the negativity. So just choose wisely what you listen to and what you consume.
And that's a great point because um, when people fester or live in toxicity, they become toxicity. They become
Exactly.
toxic.
Exactly.
Um, and other thing is when you focus on what's not happening versus what is happening, you could potentially lose a gift or a blessing because you're harboring on all this negative energy.
Exactly.
What are
Yeah.
some what are some do you have any steps or processes that you or practices that you use to keep you uh like on that path, that mental path? Like some one of the guys I interviewed, um he goes through this period of meditation. Like he does like 21 to 20-day meditation periods where if he feels like he's getting off the track, or he feels a certain kind of way, he jumps into, okay, hey, I need to go meditate and manifest for 21 days. Like what are some things that you do?
Same thing, man. I'm not as consistent as I want to be with meditation, but definitely getting it in at some point. I Most of the days I wake up 5 o'clock in the morning, and for the first 30 minutes, I'm just thinking about things to be grateful for. And then I go on a walk and I reflect for another 30 minutes. And I'm just kind of thinking about, where I'm at and where I've been, and just, things of that sort. And then I open up a book and I read for the next 30 minutes, and then I enter into my book club. So everybody needs some type of consistent or consistency in general. Everybody kind of wants to, just wake up whenever and do whatever when you wake up. And the saying is success leaves clues. So there's people that might be where you want to be. And anytime I've ever researched somebody that, I thought highly of, they all had a routine. They never did anything idly. Everything had a purpose to it. And so, with that being said, if you find yourself lost and you need guidance and you're not happy with where you're at, pick up a routine, even if it's as simple as waking up and making up your bed every morning. As soon as you wake up, make your bed and brush your teeth and start your day from there. Just picking up some type of routine, it'll definitely change your life. And you think it's small things, but those small things make huge impact. So
It's funny you said it's funny you said the make your bed comment, because there's a book out there titled Make Your Bed, and that's what it's actually alluding to is sometimes getting up in the morning and making your bed correctly can actually jumpstart your day.
Exactly.
So do you have a, well, you mentioned your celebrity, like your celebrity or your well-known standards. Like for me, Maverick, I don't know if you know who Maverick Carter is. Um, Basically, Maverick Carter is the reason why LeBron, outside of athletics, his athleticism, Maverick Carter is the reason why LeBron James is LeBron James.
As a mentor.
No, so Maverick Carter, like the initial Nike deal that LeBron got, Maverick Carter got him that deal. Uh, LeBron's marketing, Maverick Carter did all of that. The um, the way he his all the endorsement deals, his business deals, and a lot of transactions, Maverick Carter is the brains behind that. This guy is a genius, man. That's a person that if I had 10 minutes to talk to him just to pick his brain, that'd be the guy. Unfortunately, like you said, when you look up people that you aspire to be like, or um, that you look up to,
Yeah.
like he don't got a routine out there. I don't know what his routine is.
Yeah.
If I knew what his routine was, trust me, I have it written up on my wall. That's the guy that um I visualize being somewhat like, not like him because we are different, but that's the guy I visualize being somewhat like, in the sense of helping people, coaching people through the right decision to catapult them to the next level. And that's what he does. Like, for instance, if you watch the Shop Talk that they do on HBO, that's his concept. He's like he runs that to the fullest.
What is that about?
Shop Talk. So basically, LeBron James he interviews
Oh,
celebrities
okay.
in the barbershop. It's
Yeah.
like a barbershop
I've
conversation.
seen clips of that,
Yeah,
but I didn't know that was from him.
yeah.
And
Remember,
that's pretty tight. Yeah, I like that concept behind that. Yeah.
that's the genius. That's the brain behind. Brain behind it. LeBron probably
Wow.
walk and say, "Hey, I want to do such and such and such," and
Yeah.
Maverick comes back and say, "Okay, you know what? Cool, let's do it this way," and he runs with it. Um, so that's me. That's who I. That's like a one of few standards that I have, but like that's the ultimate standard when it comes to the industry I'm trying to get into. So like you already answered your ultimate goal as a chef. Um, and you talked about what caused you to shift your mind with meeting a random guy, or I don't know if you knew the guy on the bus trip, but just in conversation, he forced you to, he made it, he asked a simple question that triggered you to step out there and actually embody the term chef. And what I love about your story is you didn't go the traditional path of being a chef. You didn't go to all these culinary arts schools. You didn't go to through some structured program, other than your mom going through her program. But that's not really a, you can look at it as a program, but that's like that's in a sense love, but that's handing down tradition.
Right.
Um, that's what I love about your story, is the fact that you woke up and you probably were doing you probably were doing other things relatively close, but then you woke up and said, you know what, this is me, this is what I'm gonna do, and you had a little push from a stranger, and now you're doing it. So, if you had any advice to give to somebody today who thinks that they're living in their purpose, or don't know, or they're considering giving up, like, instead of what would you say? What kind of advice would you say to that individual outside of just don't give up?
Man, is honestly it's not for everybody. You know, if if you find yourself at the breaking point and you break, and you can't find it within yourself or within your purpose, to keep it going. Because I mean, Have you ever like tried to preach something to somebody and they just wasn't receiving it?
Yeah, that's me every day.
Yeah, yeah. So you know, I think it's important to know if it's in you, because if it's in you, you're gonna find a way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And if you're not finding a way, it's just not in you. So you know what I'm saying. But if you know that it's in you, find a way. And keep finding ways. You know, you'll see those signs. You know, I don't know where you stand in religion, but you know, if you need to meditate or pray and ask for those answers, you know, ask for them, and they'll typically show up and listen to it. But you know, you'll know if it's in you.
Shit. Look like his phone call dropped, but we're receiving some good nuggets. We're gonna go ahead and get ready to check out of here because that was almost the end of the interview. Anyway, um, but to book Chef Kaius, I got his information scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Instagram is at Chef Kaius. Phone number 334 476 0058. It's been a really dope conversation. We'll tune in to you guys. We'll tune in about 2 weeks. I got a nice roster coming up here. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and our new live interview location at YouTube for Dope Conversations, 2 E's, not one, 2 E's. And if you got something to talk about, it's dope. When it comes to living in your purpose, you don't have to be a business. It can just be life in general. Reach out to me, hit me up. We can bring you on. Peace out.